back to the Geek Speak radio show.
And actually, that brings up another thing. Is Al, you've also done work outside of comics, right? Including some commercial voice work, and I hear you played in the rock band also?
Oh, yeah. Actually, I've been playing in bands since I was about 12. I was in a bunch of Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area bands, play guitar, keyboards, and sing. So I did that for a long time. And actually, I made a living at that while I was trying to get into comic books and not getting a lot of work in the beginning. And I was playing in a lot of local bands that played your Tuesday through Saturday, 9 o'clock till 2 o'clock in the morning gig. Man, I'm pretty, I've got a lot of that under my belt. I've done voiceover work, but, I've never had a demo tape. I really dig doing it. I mean, I've done voices since I was a little kid. It's totally a blast, but I was in with a couple of producers who would, the auditions were, they'd email you or fax you a script, and you'd read it on somebody's answering machine. That was, and these are very pro gigs too, but talk about odd technology. But I've never had a demo tape. I'm actually trying to get one together now so I can get some other work. But I was doing a lot of commercial stuff, a lot of stuff for industrial. I've done stuff where you had to talk, where they hired an actor to do this gig, and he's explaining something. It's an in-house industrial, and they didn't like his voice, so I had to loop his voice. So I had to be his voice. So you see his face talking, but you hear my voice.
Yeah,
just weird industrial stuff like that. It's a blast. But I would love to do cartoon voices or stuff like that. I did radio too for a long time in college. So yeah,
I've actually done a lot of voice work myself because I've been in radio since before my voice changed. Actually, since I was 11 years old.
Really?
And I've done some voice work. I've done some movie trailer work. So we'll keep in touch. If you want help with that demo, I can probably give you a hand with that.
Yeah, I'm trying to. We've got I landed. I don't know if I should tell you guys this. I landed a gig. There's a lot of podcast stuff, and my girlfriend does it because she digs it. She's an actor. She's an AFTRA, and but to keep her chops up, she does does a lot of podcasting stuff. She's learned how to edit, which is kind of amazing because she was just not into that kind of stuff at all, and so she's learned how to use GarageBand on our Mac at home, and she's done all that kind of cool stuff. But she got a gig through, and I feel like an idiot here. I forgot what the name of the little company is. I think it's Thought Bubble Productions, and they do Buffy podcasts, where they have a bunch of actors that sort of do. I think it's called Buffy Between the Lines. Although I could be wrong, and they decided they wanted to do some comic book oriented stuff, and so they put out a casting call to people who wanted to work on it, and I nailed the Batman job. So I'm actually Batman on a podcast. So I have to be real, pissed off and annoyed and talk like that all the time, and.
You got to do the Christian Bale voice.
Well, I asked them that. I said, "You really don't want me to sound like I'm constipated, do you?" And they said, "No, just do Batman and don't sound like somebody beat the crap out of you." I'm not a real big fan of that weird voice. It just seems so bizarre to me. But I do kind of my Batman's kind of a weird cross between Clint Eastwood and I don't know Alan Alda or something. But it's a blast though. It's really fun. I don't get a chance to act too much. Like I say, most of the voiceover stuff I did was industrial stuff. So you're just really sort of explaining to people how to do things and trying to be lively and talk, be uplifting and sell a product. It's pretty similar to doing.
And voice acting is real acting because you're basically by yourself in a closet pretty much, and you're
exactly.
supposed to pretend something's in front of you or someone's in front of you.
Yeah, no, it's a blast. I dig it. It's you got to close your eyes. It's really funny. My girlfriend used to teach method acting, and I've always had a real problem with method acting because it seems like a bunch of guys who never learned to play as a child. It's like you guys never played as a child. What did you do? I mean, we're speaking of being in a closet, but growing up, we used to always even before comics, you'd go and. I live pretty close to the ocean in a funky little, I don't live there anymore, but I grew up in a little tiny funky bedroom community south of San Francisco called Pacifica. And
I used to live there myself, actually.
Did you really? Whereabouts? Whereabouts in Pacifica?
In Pacifica, I was, what is that place called? Over by where now there's a 7-Eleven, I think is by there. I forget what that area is called. Right off the freeway.
Right. Well,
Right off the
it's a big long strip, and there's the north end and the south end. And I lived on the north end. It was the little community was called Pacific Manor. We used to affectionately call it. You live there?
That's it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, then you'll appreciate it. We used to affectionately call it Pacific Manure. But yeah, and
So
you know,
did I actually.
yeah, exactly. But we were, you know, I grew up about 8 blocks from the ocean. And, you know, as a kid, you go down to the beach and play, you know, and I remember there was a movie that came out when I was a little kid called Robinson Crusoe on Mars. And, you know, me and my buddies would go down there and pretend we were, you know, on some weird planet without human life.
Yeah.
Wishful thinking. But, yeah, you know, so my girlfriend was teaching a method acting class, and it was really, really odd. On occasion, I would sit in and watch these people, and they'd be trying to get to the root of this character and stuff. It's like, what, did you guys never play? What did you? I mean, can't you just be Spider-Man? I mean, I had friends who probably developed multiple personality disorder because they would be, you know, J. Jonah Jameson and, you know, Robbie Robertson and Doc Octopus, and I'd be like Spider-Man. But these guys played everybody else, you know, when you're like 9. So probably a bad thing. But, yeah, it's a blast. You know, you're acting whether you're in front of a camera or whether you're completely in your head. It's playing, you know?
Yeah.
It's cool.
Like, we're talking to Al Gordon. He's a writer, inker,
Upstart.
rock star.
Rockstar, that too, yeah.
Yeah, Batman. He's also Batman now.
I know. Is that cool? It was just so funny when I got that gig because I just did it for fun. And so my girlfriend's checking her Twitter this morning and she goes, you got Batman. I'm like, you're kidding me. They hired me as Batman? I'm not Batman. I wanted to be Superman. I wanted to be the big Boy Scout, you know, and they hired me to be Batman. What do they know?
Well, let me ask you this Batman question. For Batman 3, who do you want to be the villain, or should the Joker be replaced, or Heath Ledger, I should say?
I like those movies. I got kind of bored with the last one. I kept predicting what was going to happen. I got tired of the evil, you know. I thought what's his name was really good as the Joker. I thought he was pretty friggin' amazing as the character. Yeah. But I'm not a big fan of Bale as Batman. I just think he overdoes it too much. You know, I wasn't a big fan of the first 2 Timothy Burton movies. I mean, I enjoyed them, but I thought they were really strangely cast, except for Danny DeVito as the Penguin. That was really bizarre. Yeah, it was bizarre. I'm not sure if I liked it or not, but it was certainly. And Catwoman was amazing. Actually, I take back everything I just said, because Catwoman was worth watching that second movie just for her. I mean, besides being, you know, a major babe, she can really act, and she totally pulled it off. It's real difficult to me. I have a real hard time watching guys who are really over the top as a character. And the guy that played the Joker, what's his name again? In the latest movie,
Jack Nicholson.
No, in the latest movie, the guy that
Heath
passed
Ledger.
away. Yeah, he played it. I mean, he was crazy. You know, that sounds like one of the most fun acting gigs around, is being a crazy guy. I just watched 12 Monkeys. And you know, what's his name, who played the crazy guy in that? I mean, what a great part. So it's a little easier to be crazy as an evil guy or as a good guy, you know. I personally think Batman's a little crazy. I think he should be played a little crazy as opposed to, you know, just really straight. I mean, he's a guy that wears leather and heels, and I see a lot of that around San Francisco. But you know, I prefer to think of Batman as being just a little off. You know, he's just a little nuts. You know, whereas Superman is like the super Boy Scout, and he's like so completely normal that he's probably pretty boring on a date, you know. But yeah, I don't know. I thought Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman was really amazing. There's only a couple of those guys that pulled it off besides the latest. You know, Joker. I thought what's his name in the second Superman movie? I forget his name. He's in a really great movie called The Limey. Really good actor.
Yeah, General Zod, you mean?
Yeah, Zod. I thought he was really great. I mean, Superman was really good too. I think he did a real nice job as like the Boy Scout. But General Zod, man,
Terrence Stamp is the actor's name.
Terrence Stamp, right? He was fantastic. I mean, I was pretty young when that came out, but I'll never forget where the guy says, "Oh God," and he says, "No, Zod."
Zod.
I mean, that's awesome. It's really hard to play something that, guys, you're playing a guy that's running around with his underwear on the outside of his clothes. It's like, how do you take that seriously, right?
Yeah.
And, it's difficult. So, I mean, I really like the first two X-Men movies because they were more action-adventure than superhero. I mean, they're a bunch of guys in leather again, but, those were really good movies, I thought. I thought they treated it really honestly, and there was a real strong sense of peril with the characters, and some of the best one-liners around. How do we know you're Wolverine?
Yeah.
Because you're a dick, I think. Can I say that on?
Yeah. Well, even if you can, you just did. So it's out there.
Damn. No, now I'm busted.
So yeah, but that is one of my favorite lines there, because that was just perfect Wolverine.
I heard that it was a Joss Whedon line. I heard that he got paid to script doctor that, and that was one of his lines, which would make sense.
Was it?
He's a pretty clever guy. So, what else with you guys, man? This is a pretty cool show.
Yeah, it is. We like it here. We talk a lot about comics, about movies, about anything that we're geeking out about. We talk about it here.
If you guys want to interview somebody who is just an amazing, he's got so much knowledge of the comic book industry. He's one of my favorite letterers. He's a really cool, just all-around nice guy, a guy named John Workman, who I think is one of the top 10 best comic book letterers who ever lived. I mean, people think of comic book letterers as the guys now they're just the guy that types in the stuff and they use a program that imitates hand lettering. But John hand letters, and he also does the coolest sound effects and the coolest logos. And if you're a fan of Thor by Walt Simonson, or the FF by Walt Simonson, John is real instrumental because Walt loves to work with John in doing sound effects, so they become a real integral part of the artwork. And John is the man. He knows more about the history of comics than anybody. If you guys ever want to do in fact, have us both on, and we'll argue, and that would be even more fun.
Absolutely. We'll definitely have you on again. And Al Gordon, thanks again for coming on the Geek Speak Radio show.
Yeah,
before I let you go, though, do you have any website or anything for the workshop that you want to promote?
Yeah, you can check Craigslist in San Francisco. You can also, if you just search me, if you wiki me, I think in fact I should just look at it here and see if it's there. If you search me, you'll get I've got as what they're calling a table at the comiccon.com site, which is COMICON. There's just one C in the middle there and one C at the beginning.
Yeah, I think I have that actually linked up on geekspeakradioshow.com, so that's probably the page you're talking about.
Yeah, and there's stuff in there about the workshop, and if you wiki me, you'll see a really cool picture of me with Tarzan, man, with Denny Miller, and me looking really goofy. One of those convention pictures where somebody said, "Hey, take a picture," and I went, "Huh?" And some crazy guy just made a list of virtually everything I've ever worked on. Is that amazing? I mean, I don't know, but it's still amazing to me that somebody has gone through your career and documented it. That just blows my mind. I'm just a funky little fanboy geek from Pacifica. There's this huge page of holy crap, just everything I've worked on, or certainly close to everything I've worked on.
Yeah, again. So we'll definitely have you on again, Al. Maybe we'll have that little argument with John Workman if you can come on.
John's a really cool guy. He's like one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. And if you want to talk, I mean, he's got an amazing memory for numbers. He could probably tell you, close to what Superman was selling in 1948. And he can tell you what was going on in the politics of what was happening. He was also an editor, I think, at National Lampoon and Heavy Metal. So he's been in the business for a long, long time, besides just being a real creative letterer. He's a really cool guy.
Al Gordon, thanks a lot for coming on the show. You're welcome back anytime.
My pleasure. How about Wednesday?
Sure. We'll do lunch.
See you guys then.
My people will call your people. All right. Thanks a lot. We'll talk to you later.
Good luck with your show, man.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
All right.
The Geek Speak Radio Show will be right back.